The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 24th day of June, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Right.
Good morning, my brother. How you been?
I'm hanging in there,
That's all we can do. Hang in there. The traditional Friday worker, for those who have to work on the weekend, like myself, it means nothing. But
yeah. Well, welcome back. It's been a while, but today we'll get into a conversation. I want to ask you about something as well. Yesterday, I know you shared on the Pure Sports Radio about Sha'Carri Richardson, right?
Yes.
But I saw people making fun of her on the on Twitter because she ran across the media instead of being interviewed after the race. And I was like, good. Why? Like, let her take care of her mental health. Remember, it was Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
Who said the similar thing. Like, win or lose, there's something about the pressure that comes with, like,
yeah, I agree.
Being interviewed after playing.
Yeah. I think the hard part is that Miss Richardson is such a personality that when she goes at it on Twitter. 2 weeks ago, she had a serious exchange, and so when you put yourself out there, when it doesn't go for you, it's kind of hard. But first and foremost, you want her to take care of herself. So I'm okay with her skipping the media.
Indeed. All right. Well, wish you all the best going forward. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we reflect on the conversation with Premier David Burke. And we're also going to discuss advice that we can give to summer students employed in Bermuda. And I'm sure we have a lot of professionals in this space, and our young people need some good feedback, some advice as to what should they take advantage of in the workplace this summer, whether they're a high school student or a college student. But you know how important summer jobs can be for a young person's career. So let's get into today's conversation. And we're going to revisit yesterday's conversation with the Honorable Premier David Burke. And the question of the morning to the audience is very simple. What can we learn from the conversation with Premier David Burke? What can we learn from it? A lot was said, a lot wasn't believed, right? I am still amazed at the Bermudian people. Honestly. Look, I have a mic. I don't have to argue with people on Facebook, go back and forth. But I'm going to call you out on my mic. So I find it fascinating when an individual can say there's too many talk shows, not enough action. Well, stupid. Talk is a form of action, especially, I don't know if you've done school projects, but there's a certain thing called brainstorming session. Don't knock what you don't understand or what you're not part of. right? That's what we need to stop doing. Stop thinking that what you're doing, complaining on Facebook,
Any
complaining,
different? Yeah.
is any different from discussing solutions on a talk show. That's what I'll say to address that person. And then yesterday I spoke about people who defend bad behavior. Let me tell you what I think about the PLP base. I think you're a sick group of people. And I think that because for years, the black mother got blamed for saying, not my son. Well, you've become those people. You've become people who will lie to defend your political party. A party that's not making your life any better or your family's any better. So that said, I've gotten my piece out. I just want to know what do you feel you can learn from the conversation with Premier David Burke yesterday? What is your biggest takeaways? What do you think the plan is for Bermuda going forward? Do you have confidence that Bermuda is going to be in a better space?
Yeah, I could say I didn't watch it initially, and then I decided to have a look. As Jamal would tell you, once we kind of went through the conscription thing, I reserve politics. I try my best. I stay abreast with these situations, but I do not kind of indulge with it because I'm over it. Um, I just made me reflect on something that you talked about earlier. You had a conversation in one of the early podcasts of the Bermuda Communications Group, and Mark Bean said we have to rely on self, and it made me go back to that and those thoughts I was having around that time because it's very clear that decision makers, whether it's public or private, have their best interest at heart. And what are you gonna do? That's the kind of questions I ask. You start thinking about different moves to make in 6 months. Do you want to see this? Whether it's a relocation, whether it's a change of job, whether it's just surrounding yourselves with different individuals, whether it's recognizing that, you know what, this is not what it's cracked up to be. It's just those sorts of things that kind of went through my head because, to be honest, if I focused on the political sides of things, I'll just get myself frustrated.
Mm. I think it's interesting you went back to the Mark Beam because I always reference him in private conversations, saying literally everything that's playing out under the leadership of David Burke and politically since 2017 is happening. Uh, uh, at the end of the day, I think the biggest concern for Bermudians should be this. If you strip the politics away from many of these politicians, ask yourself, what do they have and how much better are they living than you? And if the answer is they lose everything or they're not living any better than the average Bermudian, that is your first problem. And I'm telling you why it's the first problem for Bermuda. Because at that point, you realize these people will do anything to maintain their job. Anything. And that is a dangerous place to be in as a country. It's a dangerous place to be when those in political positions of power that are elected to be there only have politics. What can we learn from the conversation with Premier David Burke? What we can learn is that political power is the only thing that seems to matter, and they will say and do what's necessary to maintain it.
Very interesting that you said that because we are in 2022. The turn will shift the closer you get to the next general election. And it's very interesting on, when I see it, it's almost a bit of dismissiveness that comes to mind. Just, I don't want to say arrogant, but because that's an easy one. But it's almost like the concerns are minimized and dismissed. And it's, like, come on, groceries are expensive. I'm not saying you have control over whatever. We know that, but it just seemed to be a lack of empathy for the individuals that's going through it. And I know that I'm a bit more blessed in some areas than some others, and I'm saying, man, this is just going ridiculous, and it just seems like it's just being laid to the wayside.
Mhm.
But I do feel the closer you get to the next 5 years, that turn will change, and I think it goes through that cycle, and again, if you are not recognizing these things, I guess that's kind of how we get into the situation where we are now.
Yeah, but I think that politics has died off. And what I mean is, this is not new to the PLP, the United Bermuda Party. Remember, the first things I remember when I was younger hearing about politics is how leading up to the election, they started to do things to get people back on their side. And I think that's obviously part of the PLP playbook. Oh, they'll forget about it by the time the next election comes. I just don't think it works. Like what worked back then works today.
I
I
actually
don't.
think it does. I think it does because that's how we are where we are now.
No, the reason I don't think it works today is because elections are not won, they're lost. I don't think the PLP have 30 seats because people all of a sudden thought well, I mean, let's be honest. I said it yesterday. People fell for the okey doke with the whole pandemic handling, right? Let's give them that, right? But as well is the OBA was in disarray. Like, look, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I say it all the time, right? And the PLP government is what they are today because of the OBA government. Let's just call it what it is. The OBA refused to listen to the people, refused to communicate, refused to, like David Burke, Premier of Bermuda, can sit here and say we're just checking off things on our platform. The reason he can do that, absentee voting, gaming referendum, just go down the list of
Um,
things that the OBA said they were going
Conscription.
to do. Yeah, conscription. Go
Yeah.
down the list of the things the OBA said they were going to do and they didn't. So I don't want OBA MPs and senators and supporters sitting back acting like you all are getting any love or props from me. You're just
Yeah.
as guilty. And it's
Yeah.
because of you that they have this advantage because you literally created such mistrust that people felt like, well, that's still the UBP. That's still this. That's still that. Folks, look, as bad as the PLP is doing, there's a reason people feel indoctrinated and believe in them the way they do. Because you all had a chance and you blew it. Let me
Yeah.
be clear. You blew it. You are as guilty as anyone in all of this. When you had Michael Fate, come on, man. You don't even want to address the people. Okay, in fairness, you had a town hall and people came there and wouldn't let you speak. You go back to the drawing board and you figure things out. Michael Dunkley, in my opinion, ignored many black people. Who's advising you? The same guy that's advising you sits in the church every Sunday of the man who's leading marches in Bermuda. You guys, it's a circus in
Yeah.
Bermuda.
Yeah.
It's a
And
circus.
it's all I can say is to the people, how are you holding your people accountable?
Yeah.
And it's one thing, and rather it's life accountability. If I am a coach in sports and you're expecting results and I don't deliver these results, we have to have a conversation. And that conversation is why we aren't delivering results and how can we start to deliver these results.
Mhm.
And if my answer isn't good enough, you have to let me know and give me a deadline too, or we part ways. And it's not as cut and dry as that. I understand with politics. However, I think that people aren't even asking the questions of these individuals.
No.
And I think that is like politics will be politics, Hartman. In 5 years, we'll have something to talk about with this and whatnot. That's just where I feel it will be. But it's not enough asking the tough questions. People are not being put in hard situations.
Mhm.
And I referenced conscription because that was a major thing that we went through with challenging the government of the day. But we asked a lot of hard questions. We put a lot of decision makers in uncomfortable positions. And at the end of the day, they did it because they felt it was politically good for them, not because they felt it was the right thing.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And those types of questions and uncomfortableness need to happen.
But I don't know if it's a lack of interest. But I tell you this here, if you're not interested in politics, don't vote. Because if it is interested and you go and vote, and we're going to talk about that, because the guilt of voting for the PLP days have got to be over. All this
Oh,
nonsense about your ancestors for you to
it will
your
be
right
back.
to vote. I
It
tell you
will
what,
be back.
your ancestors didn't fight for you to vote for somebody that's hijacked a party that was all about you, the people. See, Mr. Marshall, Larry Marshall Sr. said many years ago, he said, it's interesting when people use this argument that your ancestors died for your right to vote, but they never really give context. So if there were two people to vote for, both KKK members, right? Both in their platforms was to harm black people, and you're black. Which one are you going to vote for? You see, folks, there were many people who died for many rights, but it wasn't to die so that you were forced to choose between two bad apples. It was for that, so that you had the opportunity to be a part of the process if you so chose to be.
Yeah.
If you chose to. So the days of being guilted into voting for, look, I'm gonna say it. What can we learn from the conversation with David Burke, Premier of Bermuda? I think the PLP has been hijacked by egomaniacs.
I'm not gonna say what I want.
Outside of politics who have nothing. David Burke's making $200-something right now. I don't have any receipts or what those things called, pay stubs to show it, but I can guarantee you he probably didn't even make half of that before he became premier.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's we have to ask the uncomfortable questions. We have to demand accountability, and I think that this is something that Bermuda as a whole struggles with in so many different areas, and it's just on a higher viewing platform, with the politics. And when we don't, you know, I'm having conversations with some people, and sometimes you're like, okay, well, that's what's important. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think like the state of certain things that may education, tourism, or just the general course of living, if you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind. And
well,
so
well,
it's not important.
I want to touch on two things real quickly, and I'll go to the comments, folks. I'm going to go to the comments. What can we learn from the conversation with Premier David Burke? I want to touch on two things. Stop believing that politicians and their charitable acts are about you. What do I mean by that? There's a playbook here. I'm not going to name the politician because they no longer can speak to defend themselves. But Larry Marshall Sr. used to tell me, there's a resume that they build, and you always know it's that they're on the way to politics. You see them start to volunteer as Sunday school teachers or Sabbath school teachers. You see them start to join community clubs and do giveaways, whether it's backpack or charitable acts and reading in schools, right?
Publicly too.
Publicly. They record everything, they share it, right? And I remember him saying this to me, this is about 12, 15 years ago. He said, Jamal, the difference between us is we're fighting against injustice. They are building political resumes. And so then when they get in this position, right, they start to put it back on you. Well, I've done this and I've done that and this, I'm a Bermudian because I've given back to my community, and I've gone and tutored and mentored, and folks, I've mentored, I've tutored, I've coached, I've done a lot of stuff. I employed people.
Yeah. And real quick, too, I don't care if you build a political resume as long as you're about the people.
Well, this is it. This is it. And my point in saying all of that, folks, is we have to open our eyes. We have to legit open our eyes, because I'm telling you, some of the answers yesterday, it's almost like I felt like He was basically telling you all you're stupid. I'm just saying, like, he literally was telling you all you're stupid. Either he's stupid or he thinks you're stupid. That's one of my takeaways. The second thing, right? The second thing. I mentioned earlier that if you take away the politics, what do they really have? You all have got to ask the question of yourselves is, if you give a vote even to someone you like, now this is putting pressure on the good people you all like. Let's say you really like Renee Ming and you really like Curtis Dickinson, but you know a vote for them keeps, as someone said in the audience, an arrogant premier in place. You have to kind of think about that, because now that puts pressure on the Renee Mings and the Curtis Dickinsons of the world to say, look, this is what I want for my vote. I want this guy gone. Remember, they work for you. But one more thing before we head out. There was an editorial in the Royal Gazette some time ago, and it spoke about Premier David Burke believing he's the smartest person in the room. And I honestly don't doubt it with the crop of people of the 30. That's not me being insulting. That's just, seriously, quality, not quantity. Look at the PLP's 30, right? The difference between David Burke, the Premier of Bermuda currently, and the Honorable former Premier Dr. Ewart Brown and Michael Dunkley and Ken Neer, and we can go back to Dame Jennifer, right? I'll tell you what I think the biggest difference between David Burke as Premier and probably right back to Sir John Swan. David Burke actually has the personality where he wants everyone to know he's the smartest in the room. The others want to surround themselves with people who are smarter than them. That to me is the biggest difference between this guy and the others. And they were not afraid to. Dr. Brown was smart. He surrounded himself with people he believed would make him better, make his job easier. That's my opinion. Let's go to the comments. We haven't been there. What can we learn from the conversation with Premier David Burke? Karen Simmons says, the responses given by the Premier tell me that their plan is not relevant or sustainable now in 2022. Oh yeah, sticking to your platform from when? Aaron Smith says, one cannot be humble and aware of oneself at the same time. Man Langley. Sam Cat Play says, based on the arrogance of the conversation and answers from Premier Burke, it's clear he sees no wrong in political interference and can't see past his bull. I'm not confident nor convinced of a plan forward. Yeah, I don't know what
that
the plan forward is.
sums it up,
Yeah.
man. Right there.
Yeah. Like, what is the plan forward? And I said that before he came on. I said that. Daniela Jade Lowe says, free democratic movement. You know, I should text the Honorable Mark Bean and ask him, are they I will text, actually.
No,
when we go to commercial break, I will text him.
I will say I am disappointed with them the most.
Okay, and I will text him, and honestly, I if he responds, I will let you all know what he says. Karen Simmons says, Bermudians have to get comfortable being uncomfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. Passiveness is no longer working. That's it right there. We have to, look, for this to change, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. Nicole Walker said, I have told Renee just that. Bert needs to go. So again, Renee Ming, who I love and admire. Tanae Furbert, I really appreciate her. There are a few people in there I actually really like. But folks, you need to withhold your folks from these people we really like if this is the person that's in charge. Michelle White
I actually don't think that it's going to make a difference if he goes or not, but that's my opinion.
No. Hold on. I agree 100% with you. I think systematically in this situation. However, I think having someone else there in the meantime may make a slight difference in terms of someone that is not, again, the difference between this guy and the others I said, he wants to be the smartest in the room. Others want to surround themselves with the smartest in the room. Like CEOs, that's how CEOs think. He doesn't have a CEO mindset, right? Michelle White says, I received a flyer in the mail yesterday after the show titled, what the 2022-23 budget means to you. It still tells me that there is no real national plan. I've said this before this one. I want to go back to something because, Michelle, we missed your comment yesterday. And I spoke about your comment in particular from yesterday's show. And we've got to bring Leanna in soon. But I want to say this. Michelle White mentioned yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, she said, basically, part of the problem is it shouldn't be a political platform that we're checking off. It needs to be a national plan, not about a political party. Folks, I can't tell you how true that is. And that's the whole point about removing politics from tourism, so that tourism follows a national plan and doesn't switch from minister to minister. It's like education. Education needs a national plan, doesn't switch from minister to minister, government to government. Michelle White, if only we had people with the intellectual capacity to understand, strategize, plan, and execute, I think that is the perfect solution. Shika Reyna says, because I said so should never work with voters. And Michelle White's confirming, yes, she said that. Folks, we're going to bring Leanna in. We want to turn the conversation over. Our young people need us. Our young people need us. You are one of the most brilliant groups of people we know. After the news break and commercial, we need to give our young people some advice and feedback of how they can make the most of summer opportunities. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation, see what the Leaster thinks. I don't think she's gonna have an opinion on this. Good morning, Lee. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. I'm gonna take over for Shari and just say, yes, the end of the traditional work week, Larry. Very excited for upcoming weekend.
Yeah. Lee likes a Friday too, I guess.
I do. I'm very interested in conversation this morning. I tuned in yesterday after I had departed the show, and wow is all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Folks. She said something.
Yeah, it definitely was a few wow moments.
It was definitely a few wow moments. It was, and I don't want to go into too much detail given the platforms and the hats and many hats that I wear, but yeah, I have to be like Larry though and just be like, if you allow yourself, and Jamal, I was sitting there and when you broke down, that affected me, because if you allow yourself and to be so immersed, and I know how passionate you are, that's what the state of this island will do to you on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to, you saying that, I have to acknowledge the people, and a lot of you on every platform from LinkedIn to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Some of you somehow found my WhatsApp number. Stop giving my number out. I'm gonna blame Barry. But no, I seriously, I appreciate people saying that, I express the emotion that they feel and so on. I do. And my love for Bermuda and Bermudians is deep. It's deep. But I'm telling you, if it's anything I learned from conscription, right, is we can't continue fighting other people's battles. I speak to Larry's daddy as much as him, probably, right? And that's real. Remember that speech at my wedding? Like, he'll come down my house and go upstairs and he can come down mine. But I do. And if it's one day Mr. Marshall says to me, it's like, look, we can't keep fighting while everybody sits back. Like, people have to learn to fight for themselves.
See me, I'm not fighting.
Yeah, like
I'm waiting for Jamal to get on my boat.
literally, and that's all I mean. Like, the emotion is really like, folks, please, for your own sake, because there's going to be a day where I just sit back, enjoy my non-alcoholic Heineken Zero and pina colada, and say, I'm good. And in the words of LeBron James after that first championship in 2013, I ain't got no worries.
Yeah, it's going to be a sad day when the most vocal finally say, I wash my hands, I'm done.
Indeed. Lee, over to you.
Thanks, Jamal and Larry, and good morning to all of you who are tuned in with us this morning. I hope everyone is having a great start to this fabulous Friday. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, Palm trees are the staple of island life. Now, where am I going with this? Well, apparently, a number of the palms that were recently moved from the Ocean View Golf Course and relocated to a private home. And government has been asked to explain why. Now, last night, government officials responded to reports of 12 Canary Island date palm trees being relocated under an exchange authorized by the golf course's board of trustees in 2019 in consultation with the minister. Now, according to a government spokesperson, the trees were too expensive to maintain and switched to spindle palms. However, the deal is said to have been conducted in a like-for-like arrangement, meaning that the trees, which would typically cost about $20,000 a pop and incur moving and labor fees, were exchanged by Atlantic Construction, which assumed ownership of the palms and found a home for the trees at a private residence set to be in Tuckerstown at no charge to the government. Now, according to a spokesperson, the final recipient was not required to pay for the trees under the terms of the switch. In other news, a man suffered serious head injuries when he was apparently thrown from a motorbike after he lost control of the vehicle. Now, police say that the crash happened at the roundabout at the junction of Palmetto Road and North Shore Road in Devonshire just before midnight yesterday. The motorcycle rider, said to be a 40-year-old male, was traveling west along North Shore Road in Devonshire. Apparently, he had attempted to continue west on the road at the roundabout where excavation works were currently being carried out. Now, it is believed that he lost control of the bike, which hit the island on Palmetto Road and was thrown from the vehicle. The man suffered serious face and head injuries and was taken to the hospital by ambulance where he was being treated today. Now, anyone who was in the area when the crash happened or who would have information about the incident is asked to contact police. And it's shaping up to be an exciting summer for the island's track and field athletes who are set to compete in a slate of competitions this season, including the Bahamas National Championships, the Under-23 Caribbean Games in Guadeloupe, and the Bermuda National Track and Field Championships, the Commonwealth Games in the UK, and the NAC Championships in the Bahamas. Caitlin Bob and Sakari Famous will be part of a 5-member team that are competing in the Bahamas National Championships, which started yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Also competing in this championship will be Janai Parent-Chief and Tiara DeRosa, and completing the team is college student Stephen Dill, who is making his international debut at the senior level. Now, college athletes Ryan Otterbridge and Mikhail Dill have met the standard and will compete in the first ever Under-23 Caribbean Games in Guadeloupe. Meanwhile, there are so much more competitions taking place over July and August to be on the lookout for. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 81 and a low near 73 degrees. We will see some sunshine begin to poke out to begin our day, but there will be a chance for showers later on. Now, many have been wondering why the weather has been quite cool these past nights and days. Well, Bermuda remains sandwiched between a complex low pressure system to the west and bands of convergence to the east. Both systems will gradually draw closer later tonight, bringing increasing cloud and the potential for showers through early next week. Now, temperatures and humidity levels continue to rise within a southerly flow. That's all for our daily hour news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamal and Larry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Thanks so much for that, Lee. I know people have been talking about the weather was cool in June or something like that. So
yeah. So apparently, I had, received one of the forwards. I don't know if you guys did, but there's something going on right now where the Earth it's furthest from the sun. So we're going to experience these cool temperatures right up until August. I can't remember the technical name for it at this moment, but that's what's happening right now. So we can expect cooler weather over the next 2 months.
Well, I hope that impacts, cools the ocean, so it means less hurricanes and stuff. Honestly, I'm not a scientist, meteorologist, none of that, so I don't know how it works, but I hope that it does take away the
Bermudians should be excited about cooler weather. We usually complain that it's too hot right now, so
yeah. And so Burp, you got any day of the year for us?
I do. Today is Swim a Lap Day.
Swim a lap.
Swimming is great for your cardio health, giving your cardio and strength training in one. Take a lap around the pool to boost both your health and mood. I think we can apply that for our ocean also.
Yeah.
Jamal,
Jamel, what's wrong? Go jump in the ocean.
swim a lap today, bro.
One lap won't kill you.
Yeah, you're from North Shore. like, you know, these lot don't know you. I know you, bro.
See, that's right. Let all his secrets out, Larry.
Mm.
You all,
Don't act bougie just because it's over there in Florida.
I don't swim.
I ain't never seen this guy swim.
Nobody, not many people can say that I've ever seen this swim. And truth be told, I grew up around pools. Couldn't tell you last time I've been in one of those. Audience, don't be like me. Take that lap today. Take that lap. I'm not leading by example. Listen to the exercise man, the fitness guy, the runner. Listen to him. That's not my forte. Lee, you gonna take a lap?
I think I might venture down. I mean, the weather's supposed to be bad this weekend, but I might take a little dip. Maybe.
I'm gonna have to tell our social media lady, get some video of Leanna taking a dip, folks.
Not with this belly.
Lee.
Have a good weekend, guys.
All right, see you later, Lee.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We're gonna do a giveaway today as well. We're gonna do 2 giveaways at the end of the show. We're gonna play the feud as well, but don't go anywhere because we have a conversation. We have to advise our young people they need our assistance. All right. So after this break, we're going to have a conversation about what advice we can give young Bermudians who are taking some employment opportunities. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
It's the first flush of summer, and now that we have at last returned to our customary outdoor lifestyle, we're featuring the Organic Revolution solution to skin protection from high UV levels. Alba Botanica, leader in the field of alternative skincare, who reject the use of chemicals whose names are tongue twisters, and harness the power of tried and tested traditional herbs to afford a high SPF. Try Alba Botanica 95% Aloe After Sun Gel and Lotion, SPF 70 Maximum Sunscreen Spray, and Sunless Tanning Lotion. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Larry Marshall Jr., myself, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed on our website. Like, do it right now. Just go to our website. It's going to pop up. Subscribe to our website so you don't miss a chance for updates, promotions, prizes, and more. We have a lot coming up this summer. Also, if you're on the go and can't watch, that's okay. Download the BCG Radio app. It's available for both Android and Apple devices, and you can listen to us every single time we go live if you're unable to watch, because we don't want people driving and watching. That's not cool. Before we get into today's focus, right, I want to just answer this, and I want to answer this as respectful as possible. So Teresa Marie is asking, do you think Premier Burke's having no ancestral roots in Bermuda makes him less genuinely invested? Now, first, I honestly don't know if he has ancestral roots in Bermuda. As far as I know, his father's Bermudian. I have had this question asked of me of another individual as well in the PLP, well, the chairman of the VTA. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to get that personal, especially when I don't know. When they're doing horrible enough jobs, I don't think we need to go there, if that makes sense. When they're doing bad enough, I think. But again, if that's true, Teresa Marie, It could be, if true. I just don't know his family history like that. It could be.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
Yeah. Some people are just bad people, folks. And we just got to accept that. Some people are just bad. But as far as I know, his father is Bermudian and has family that goes back in Bermuda. So, yeah. But let's get to today's focus. So today's focus, folks, young people in high school, they got summer jobs. Young people in college return to Bermuda. They got summer jobs. My baby sister's in one of the exempt companies right now. One of the things I wish I had when I was in school and doing a summer job was mentorship. We speak about mentorship and coaching when people enter the workspace after college most times. But why not start a bit earlier? Some of the jobs I did, I worked at a hotel. That was my first summer job when I came back from college. And I also worked at an insurance company. At least working at that local insurance company helped me realize I thought insurance was too damn boring for me to be in, and I didn't want to do it, right? But I wish I had someone to advise me per se, and I kind of did but didn't, because they were trying to push me in a direction I didn't want to go. But what advice, the question of the focus is, what advice would you give summer students in Bermuda in the workplace? What advice would you give Bermudian summer students in the workplace? You're an educator, Burke, so I'm going to pick on you with this. Like, what advice a young person, let's say it's a young person majoring in sports management, right? And they come back and they get a job at, say, the kids club at one of the hotels, if they even still have them. Like, what advice do we give them?
A lot of these things are probably going to sound a bit cliche-ish, but at the end of the day, it's integrity. Will you be able to be depended on? You know what I mean? And when you show up and someone expects a task or expects you to do a job, they expect that it's going to be done in a professional and timely manner. And I think one of the best things when you leave a summer employment situation is for that employer to say, you know what, I could depend on that person. And I think if anything, you have to be someone that person looks, because at the end of the day, Jamal, anything can happen. This person can be in transition, go right there. You may be able to use them on your resume. I had a guy who he earned his own business. We hung storm shutters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so impressed. I asked him to be on my resume, and he was on my resume for a few years. And you just never know. So if you are not dependable, it's almost like your word. You know what I mean? If you're not dependable in the work place, it's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because those are some of the first professional relationships you'll have. I'm going to use like restaurants, right? So there may be some people who might want to get into broadcasting, but there's no broadcasting jobs for you, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you have to go and work at a restaurant and be a waiter or waitress. I'll tell you what, you better make sure you serve everybody with a smile and do your best, because you never know, even though Bermuda's small, who you might be serving.
Yeah.
I want to use, although it wasn't a summer job, Lorianne Stovall. Many years ago, Lorianne Stovall was working, I think it was Swizzle Inn. And she got these rave reviews from some tourists that actually ended up getting her an opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, at one of the high-end hotels in Bermuda.
Yeah.
Folks, I look, the culture of employment is changing.
Yes.
It's changing big time. And one of the things I've realized, and look, I'm not perfect. I'm going to tell you, I've had jobs where I probably haven't been the best employee. Do it attitude, do it the kind of work. But I tell you, the relationships, and I think someone says it. Let's go to Michelle White. She says, first, the process begins when young, confidence building and networking. I was just going to say, networking while you're in those, like when you go to serve someone in a restaurant, network, develop a relationship with everyone, even if that person may not be in a suit.
Yeah.
Develop that relationship. Because I tell you what, I don't wear ties anymore. Larry and I might come to lunch today together and look like we're dressed.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting. I like the example that Michelle just gave and the one you gave previous, because I think we give so much, we create these pedestals, and the exempt company summer job is put at the top, whether you're in
Mhm,
banking or that traditional professional setting.
mhm,
And for me, I never was in one of those types of settings.
mhm.
And but my summer jobs help shape who I am. You know what I mean? And I think we so many people feel like, oh, I didn't get this internship here, or I
Mhm.
didn't do this, I'm not in my field yet. You can still do so much for your future by performing at your best, no matter what summer employment opportunity you have.
I agree. I agree. Michelle White, her comment says, first, the process begins when young, confidence building and networking. Some call the results of networking as nepotism. For some, this may be true, but networking gets results. I've already told you all, like my current position, my full-time job, or my one of my full-time jobs, it was from networking. Former CEO of the BTA, Charles Jeffers, knew someone. I asked him, and he made a call. Like it worked. It helps. But see, it's not just about networking or who you know. It's about being good at what you do.
Yes.
No one's going to put their reputation on the line for someone that they don't believe in. So keep that in mind. It's not just about networking and knowing people. It's about networking and actually being a good worker and knowing how to do stuff and delivering that word we speak about a lot when it comes to politicians, results.
Yeah.
Nicole Walkerberg.
Network as much as possible. I attended a networking event earlier this week, and the turnout wasn't as high as expected.
Oh, and right now, folks, y'all need to be networking. Like people need to be networking. It's serious out here because I was just saying to a couple people yesterday, in the US, I mean, layoffs in overdrive. Netflix just laid off another 300. Like, and you just haven't seen the stories in the new Bermuda news. Like, you haven't seen a layoffs. At least I haven't in the Royal Gazette lately. And you're just wondering. You're not hoping for it. I don't want it to happen, but you're wondering,
Yeah.
what's happening? And I think I know what's happening. I think when people are leaving, companies just aren't refilling these positions. So there will come a time where people will be out of work and there will be less jobs. Michelle White says, second is understanding the value of work ethic is key. Bingo. Yes, Larry. Dependability, no matter job you are doing. Dr. Maria Seaman says, every day be self-critical so that the next day you will be better. Well, let's talk about self-critique. One of the best ways to become a better public speaker, they say, is to go and speak in front of a mirror. To me, that's a life lesson.
Yeah.
It's a life lesson. One of the things I tell everyone on this show, be it Larry, be it Sherry, Central Phil, I tell everyone, go back and watch every show.
Yeah.
Watch when you're on.
And I hate it.
It's tough. Like, you hate it. You think about how I come across to myself. I'm like, I really said that. And then Sherry, she doesn't ease up because she's like, Jamal, you shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? But it's real because when we do that, we start to see what other people see.
Yes.
Self-reflection is huge. And I mean huge.
I want you to, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I was this person. We often hear about networking. I did not know how to network. To this day, probably. So for someone that was me 20 years ago, I'm sure my age, who is in this type of position, what do we want when we talk about networking?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. So for those who don't know, I work in tourism in Palm Beach. So I went to a tourism committee meeting yesterday at one of the chambers here. Dr. Ewart Brown is who I look at when it comes to networking. When Dr. Ewart Brown enters a room, he commands like your attention, right? I'm a short person, usually the only black person in the room. I don't see that as a bad thing when I enter spaces, right? So for me, when I think of networking is by the time I leave this room, I don't just want them to know who I am, but I want them to know what I do and how I can benefit them. Let me repeat. I don't want them just to know who I am, but know what I do and how I can benefit them. So I'm shaking every hand.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I've got my hand sanitizer. But I'm shaking every hand. I am trying to learn about them. I go to as many events as possible. Is something on the calendar happening? I'm there. Bermuda tourism. And I was traveling all over the US. I made it I developed relationships that were not just business, friendships. Okay, cool. Tell me about how I can support such and such. Some people had side businesses.
Yeah.
It's really honestly about putting yourself, and I don't think I'm a shy person. Obviously I have a different personality from people, but I am standoffish in certain spaces because, again, and I'm not saying this to say race holds things, but I try to use it as an advantage that I'm going to stand out if I'm the only black person in the room.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think what did eventually help me was I was able to use sports. Sports is a great way to network and segue into different conversations. And if you're into the arts, if whatever your general interests are, if you struggle with finding a way to network and do certain things, apply it to your likes. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like something I know for me, that's what helped. I love all kinds of sports. I get into running. I heard someone talking about a charity 5K. Oh, well, what's your time in the 5K? Okay, yeah, well, maybe you could do this, you could do that. You know what I mean?
And that's a perfect strategy. But what I do is I interview people.
Okay.
Like interview people. That's how you find, you learn more about them. And as you're learning more about them, they become inquisitive. So who are you? What do you do? And again, that final part, how can I benefit them? But you want to interview people during the networking process. Let's go through some comments. Sherry Vanderpool says networking and put yourself out there. Nachika Trot says, if there's no formal review process, ask your supervisor and coworkers for feedback on your performance so you can learn what you've done well and what areas you need improvement. Shika Reyna says it's the start of building your personal brand. So be consistent about your work product. Someone is always watching. Michelle White says, at 13, we set up some experiences for our son, from a hospitality camp to working with his godfather on a sewage truck. He decided real quick that work was not for him. Michelle says, introduce yourself to everyone. Try to have contact with each person and get a sense of what they do. They never know when someone else in the company is doing something that might interest you later. And Michelle also says, networking involves curiosity. It doesn't mean saying, I need a job. Yes, Jamal, let them know who you are and let them know, to tell you who they are. People like to talk about themselves, and that helps. And she says, yes, Larry, start from where you are. So again, I think the overall point is, don't be afraid to join a conversation. If that's talk, for instance, I was watching young men's dreams come true last night, right? So the NBA draft. If I know someone at work loves sports, hey, did you see the draft last night? Yes, and he went to Duke. That's what Larry's talking about. Then, if you don't know someone, just into, hey, how you doing? Where you from? No, I'm gonna tell you what works for me in the US. What do you think works for me most, Barbara? Give you a test. What do you think works for me?
You say you're from Bermuda.
Bingo. Bro, folks.
That is, you're interested one time.
The easiest thing for me to network in the United States of America is Bermuda. And this is why I had to learn not to get annoyed at everyone who starts bringing up what you think.
The triangle. So I was that person. I shied away from bringing up certain stuff because it brought the spotlight back on it. And but you're young, you're defending and stuff like that instead of just having the conversations. And the older I got, the more circles I've been around. Especially in track and field. The guy from Bermuda is running well, so that kind of came, and then it just helped with those conversations. So I definitely agree. Bermuda, the name will get you somewhere.
Indeed. And folks, I want to speak to anyone who's working with non-Bermudians, whether you're in a restaurant, an exempt company, summer students. If you're working with non-Bermudians, get to know them, because there are a lot of people in Bermuda who are working that may end up in places that you might want an opportunity to go to. We were on our honeymoon in Mauritius, and the guy who was our butler had worked in Bermuda for many years. But I only say that, I always say this one thing: grow beyond your environment. Engage. Don't fall into this, oh, non-Bermudian got a job. No, embrace that. You never know where they may end up and how they may be able to assist you in the future. I could tell you what, they'll probably do more for you than your politicians. I just had to. Let's end it here.
On a roll today.
Sam That Place says, speaking of young people, congratulations to Clearwater Middle School graduates today. Networking and willingness to learn is key. No job is valuable. Let's give them, where's the air horn?
And there's plenty.
That's for the graduates. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, it's Clearwater and tons of others going on. We just want to say congratulations and all the best on the next step in your journey.
Indeed. Congrats to all the graduates. And we'll end it with this. Nicole Walker says, ask for a written reference letter before leaving summer positions so you have them on hand when you apply for full-time jobs. And I think this is a great way to end the conversation. I agree, Nicole. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're coming back with the feud. We're going to do 2 giveaways today, all right? We're going to do 2 giveaways.
Am I eligible for 2 million?
Go ahead and try. That's what we'll
Okay. All right. Nothing beats a try.
Nothing beats a try. Folks, do not go anywhere. He can. Yeah, I'm just saying. We're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. We want to see you be a winner today. Folks, share this information. If you appreciated today's conversation and discussion, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this. Young people need this information. Networking is important. Taking advantage of summer opportunities is important. We'll be right back.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
Alrighty. Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much. If you appreciated today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Have you registered to be part of the TDH exclusive TDH community, I should say yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Seriously, sign up today to enjoy the benefits and activities and events that we'll have going on throughout the year. Go to our website right now, thedailyhour.com, and you'll click register right on the homepage. If you have any trouble, just reach out to us, engage at thedailyhour.com. But trust me, you want to sign up. So, Bert, we've got some few questions for you today.
I'm ready.
Yeah, the brilliant Sencha, and we're sending love to our sister Sencha out there who is lost her grandmother, and we appreciate you all out there sending your condolences. So we're sending big hugs and love to Sister Sencha this morning. Absolutely. But she put everyone to shame last week. She put everyone to shame. I told her she came across like a hustler, like every got it one time. So here we go. Help them out, folks. We're going to go to the giveaway after this. If you thought you heard a robber in your home, where would you hide?
Closet.
There were tons of answers, and he got it one time. He said the closet. It says in the closet is number 1. Number 2 was under the bedroom. Outside, number 3. In the basement, number 4. Bathroom, tub, number 5. Number 6 is behind wife.
Why are you laughing like that?
I'm just saying. I
let it be known. I'm laughing at his response, not at the question.
I'm gonna call my sister Serena. I'm just saying. He laughed. And then garage was last. All right, next one. Kathy Rogers said closet as well. So, all right. Here's the next one, folks. Name the person you feel most guilty lying to.
Parents.
Why wouldn't you say wife? I was hoping you'd say wife to get yourself out of trouble.
It just when you're young, it just feels that uncomfortable. I guess when you're grown, right?
Kathy said, yeah, it's parent. Significant other was number 2. Everyone's saying mother. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. But yeah, it's parent, significant other, then children number 3. Nah, parents, you all lie to your children all the time. You do. Talking about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and stuff. Come on now.
We'll do that tomorrow.
Myself, Mason's birthday tomorrow, ain't it?
Sunday.
So we'll talk about that in a few. Best friend and dentist. My best friends better not lie to me. All right, here's the last one. This is easy, folks. Prep and Sanch have been putting on a show. Sherry, they're putting you in pressure. Here's the last one. If you won the lottery, name something you might go to your job to do.
Quit.
That was too easy. No, seriously. Quit was number 1. Number 2 was keep working. Right? Who's going to do that? And number 3 was brag. I mean, I
don't even want people to know.
I'm just giving my notice. But I might brag a little.
I'm not even giving notice. Hey, I'm going.
Everybody,
you gotta do.
Quit, pack up. No, I'm packing up. They could keep my stuff. They can keep my stuff. I'm good. I'll buy all new stuff, folks.
Yeah.
Hashtag the Daily Hour for today's giveaway. Hashtag the Daily Hour while Larry and I give our final thoughts. Today's giveaway, we're giving away 2 travel mugs today. Again, folks, if you haven't already, go to the website, sign up for the TDH community. Sancha and Sherry and Shanta, they're arranging some really cool events, some community events that we're going to grow from. We're going to create a better Bermuda. Again, taking the conversation beyond this show. The Daily Hour, hashtag the Daily Hour in full to be eligible for today's giveaway. But what are your final thoughts on discussion about what we can learn from the Premier and also the focus on summer students?
Summer students, I would say, when you leave, then make sure they know you're dependable. I keep talking about that, and I think that's just key. The other one, folks, we need to ask the uncomfortable questions. We need to create some situations where people have a little sweat under their arms, and until that happens, I continue to see the way how things be. I continue to see this is where things will remain.
Yeah. No, I to touch on the what can we learn from Premier David Burke? He's too comfortable.
We are too comfortable.
And he's comfortable because, say it again, Bert.
We are too comfortable.
And unless we're willing to get uncomfortable, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Folks, let's do a little giveaway. Let's change the mood. And then Larry will do the daily inspiration. So let's see what we got. Let's hit that draw button. Let's go. Let's see what we got.
Where's my name? I don't see my name.
I don't see it either. Here we go. Michelle White, you have won it. Where's that round of applause? Let's give her some credit. So Michelle White's the first winner. And so Michelle, send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. We're going to spin it again and see who is the Lazaki winner. Let's see. Let's do another spin. And here we go. So Michelle White, send that email to engage@thedailyhour.com. Drum roll, please. Nicole Walker. All right. You are our 2 winners. Please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com, and we'll do our best to get you your winnings ASAP. Folks, thank you so much. Any daily before we do daily inspiration. So how old Mason's Larry's son, how old does Mason go this weekend?
Mason goes 4. A bubbly, energetic, loving 4-year-old boy I will have on Sunday.
That's a boy. Yeah. Hey, Mason got energy, folks. I'm sure he's in school right now.
Yes.
Oh, because he'll be in the background right now putting on a show for you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not like his daddy. He ain't shy, quiet like his daddy. I'm telling you, Mason got energy.
It's got a personality. I have one too, if you got to know me. But
yeah, if he likes you. Give Mason some happy birthday love from our audience.
Yes, thank you.
Inspiration for us?
Yes, I do. The road to Easy Street goes through the sewer. And that is from legendary American football coach John Madden.
Appreciate that. We've got some advice for you, God and Mason. Larry, prepping for the future now.
Yes.
There we go. Folks, it's basically time to say, what I don't like to do. But thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and great weekend, and get to that website, sign up to be a part of the TDH community now, because once we reach, we're not telling you what that number is, there will be no exceptions to what we will be doing. If you're not in, you are out. Make it a good weekend. Safe. You.